Hey everybody, from probably about 7 o'clock in the evening, and just as gorgeous as anything today. The weather today was what I call my picture perfect weather. It was bright blue sky with nice big white fluffy clouds floating through it, about 22-23 degrees, and just fantastic weather. It was great. Anyway, it's the first of the month. I think it's the first of the month. And here's my last apple tree that I'm going to cut. Now, for anybody that's just watching this for the first time, this is on apple tree propagation. And I have 3 MM111 rootstocks that I planted in the ground here last year. And they grew up to about the size of the tree that you see in front of you here. In the 1st of April, I cut this one down. While everything was, in the 1st of April, everything was still in full dormancy. And you can see I have two sprouts coming here, and there's actually something growing from out of the ground down here at the bottom. So that's growing really nice. So as far as cutting down your rootstock in the 1st of April, that seems to work out quite well. A month later, in the 1st of May, I cut this rootstock off. Now, you have to take into account it's a month behind, but it has one nice, I don't know, what do you call that, a shoot growing off there, and in behind there's another little one growing. So he's doing pretty good. Now the third one is out in full leaf. So the first one was fully dormant. The second one was just at the very beginning of bud break. And this one here you see now is out in full leaf. Now, not to jump the gun on the test, but so far the 1st of April one seems to be doing the best. And that was when the tree was in full dormancy at the 1st of April. So, not that I'm much of a betting man, but if I put my money on it, I think that's probably going to give me my best and my most rootstocks. Now, this one here is out in full leaf. And as I got thinking about this test, I got thinking all the energy that was stored in the roots went up into this tree to produce this leaf and to bring this out into full leaf. So when I cut this tree off now, its roots is going to be pretty depleted. So either I'm going to see very little growth out of this one, or none at all. And it's kind of against my better judgment to cut this one down, but in the sake of the test, I'm going to cut it down anyway. And we'll see when the next video on this one probably won't be, well, maybe for another month or so, month and a half, maybe 6 weeks. When I go to I'm going to be taking a potted plant pot with the bottom cut out of it, and I'll set it down over top of these ones once they're up here a little bit, and I'll mound probably 1/4 to half the pot full of damp sawdust, peat moss mix, some kind of light, really light mixture, something for the roots to go out into. So now the last two I cut down with a pair of hand clippers. This one here I'm gonna cut down with my new toy. Now, if you see there, that says silky, I think it's gum taro. Everybody that watches my channel that's into the apple trees fully knows where I picked this recommendation up from. This was Stevens out of the UK, and he highly recommends the silky gum taro. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but there it is, G-O-M-T-A-R-O. If I'm wrong on that, and anybody knows the correct pronunciation of that, correct me, I don't mind a bit. So, now this is probably a bit overkill. I was using this knife for quite a little bit. I cut some big stuff with it. It is a fantastic cutting pruning saw. There's no doubt about it. It's slick, it's smooth, and when it cuts a very smooth cut, which is really nice. Hardly any effort. It's a great cutting saw. It's not as fast as the Professor's saw, but I don't think, if anybody's watched that video, I don't think you can find a saw that's as fast as that. So here it goes. I'm going to try this one hand at this little tree. I should be probably holding on to it with the other hand. But there goes tree number 3. Timber. Like I say, if I was a betting man, I would predict that this was not a good idea to leave it go out in fully leaf. I think to cut them in the 1st of April when they're fully dormant, I think was the best. But the true story won't be told until we do the last update, probably, I don't know, somewhere in September, October. That should give us a true reading. Oh, here's a little rootstock I put in that was a crab apple, and I put a double cleft graft in that. It didn't look like anything grew on the one side, but it's coming out on the other side. He was quite slow, but coming. So it looks like that might make it. We won't bet entirely on that one just yet either. Anyway, not to get rattling on too much, that's apple tree propagation number 3.